What's up, y'all? You know what time it is? It's about to be that time.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
Let's see, what do we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's easy enough.
Savage.
And we're back. One Piece. 1059. Peak Fiction returns. 1058 is still a better chapter in my mind. I know a lot of people will be looking at me like, huh? What? But 1059 though. 1059 is fantastic. I'm just that much of a crocodile stan. But hey, some of my other favorite characters show up in this chapter as well. So, let's get into this. There is a lot to get into, and I know a lot of people are going to want me to talk about the Rocky Port incident. Saving that for a separate video. We're going to talk about a lot of things. We're going to get into a lot of crazy theories and everything like that in this, but everything that I have to say about the Rocky Port incident is so vast, and just the idea of Wang Shi filing into that opens a whole new can of worms, because most of the community believed he was dead and one of the special zombies in Thriller Bark. Not the case. So look out for that. All right, coming very soon. 1059 though. What was this? Fan fiction? Marco, Shanks, Blackbeard, Rayleigh, Hancock, Koby, all in the same chapter? It's real.
It's about to get spicy.
One Piece is real. Let's get into this. Can we get much higher? Yes. Yes, we can.
Can we get much higher?
Tons of stuff to get into. All right, this chapter was just about as packed as 1058 was. Oda started the chapter with some post-credit scenes for Wano. We'll get into that at the end. Let's start this off right. Zay ha 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 ha. We knew this was coming. We knew it. We talked about it. People are upset that Luffy's got a bigger bounty than Blackbeard. What have I been saying? We don't know what Blackbeard's been up to. Oda would not create a scenario where Luffy is above Blackbeard at this stage of the game. He just wouldn't.
Another one.
So we just finished Act 3, so we need a little bit of Zay ha 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 before we get into everything else.
Another one.
Why? End of Act 1. Zay ha 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 ha. End of Act 2. Zay ha ha ha. If the Marines are going to take it for themselves, then I might as well beat them to it, right? I'm paraphrasing. But we know now that what Blackbeard wanted was actually the Mero Mero no Mi. Not an ancient weapon, not Pluton, not something in Alabasta, not anything anybody theorized. Boa Hancock's fruit. Goda. Surprise me, all right?
Surprise,
This is the stuff that I love. I love it. We took an L, we did, but if there is anybody that is going to take down Boa, I think it makes the most sense if it actually is Koby, to hype him up. And how could this happen? Well,
congratulations, you played yourself.
okay, but like I always say, I love it when I'm right. I love it even more when I'm wrong. Oda surprised me. We said that Boa Hancock should get captured. Would be interesting for the story. Oda said,
We turn it around. We turn it around. Nice.
all right, okay, Oda. I'm with you. Are you going to have Koby get turned in to the Cross Guild and reunite with Alvida? Shout out to my guy Loggy Doggy for that. May happen. I mean, I don't understand the context for Blackbeard to actually bring Koby over there, but there's something there. Boa Hancock's fruit apparently is important. More important than we think. Could it also be not a paramecia? Hito Hito no Mi, model Gorgon, model Medusa? Boa Hancock's whole thing is just based around the Gorgon mythology, Greek mythology. The Medusa character was someone that had snakes for hair, and if you looked into the snake's eyes, you looked into her eyes, you turned to stone, right? I mean, that's basically the premise behind Boa. Oda came out and said in an interview that if somebody else had the fruit and named Blackbeard and Kaido, he basically said the fruit would operate in a different way. Whereas like Boa Hancock's fruit operates for love, right? If Kaido had the fruit, anybody that feared him would turn to stone. So it's not really the love fruit to begin with anyway, is it? Either way, this is a welcome and pleasant surprise. It's about as surprising as learning that Blackbeard and Shakky shop at the same store for pants. Shout out to, I think, Maxo for pointing that out in the stream. They literally have the same pants. Now, I'm not judging the man. He's on a little bit of the bigger side. Maybe women's leggings just fit better. Who knows? All right? Like I said, not judging the man. Vice Admiral Yamakaji makes a welcome appearance, right? No, I'm just kidding. Dude's a bum. What were the Marine headquarters thinking sending him? This dude's like, oh, Blackbeard's here? Yeah, hold on. I'm going to wait for Marine HQ to give me the okay to go against this Emperor of the Sea. Now, that would not be the case if Steel Balls Momonga was there. He would have been on site, fire. Take him on. We're going for it. But they decided to put Yamakaji in charge of the Seraphims, of this entire operation. But the only person actually doing any work here is Koby, the hero of the Rocky Port incident. Whew. Oh my god. Now, for those who may not remember, Yamakaji was one of the 5 vice admirals sent during the Buster Call in Enies Lobby. He was also part of the Marineford War, but basically the only thing he's ever done in the story is just look high as hell. Yeah, shout out to Yamakaji. Now, the Seraphims, okay? Root word there, seraph, right? Biblical, angels, all of this. While reading, expected them to have wings. Come to find out, looks like they're spliced with Lunarian DNA. Well, where did we get that? Right? Well, Oda went out of his way to really show us about how King was a Lunarian who was experimented on by Vegapunk. So it's very possible that these robots, these creatures, these Seraphim Science Group, whatever, they have to be spliced with King's DNA. One of them looks like Boa. Another one arguably could look like either King or Mihawk, has a great value Yoru in his hand, some sort of a cross sword. How could this be possible? Well, we go back to Whole Cake Island. We learned about Mads. It's Vegapunk, Queen, Caesar Clown, Vinsmoke Judge. What was Vinsmoke Judge doing? He was cloning people, all right? Chapter 840, I think. Yonji is down in the lab area with Sanji. Eventually, Niji shows up too. But Yonji is explaining that it takes 5 years for a clone to fully mature into a 20-year-old. So is there a possibility that these clones were pulled out early, that they were only baking for, 2 years, so that's why they still look like kids? Are they all warlords? Will we see Child Doflamingo, Child Moria, Child Crocodile, male or female, Buggy, Jinbei? That would be interesting. Weevil, Law, who knows? Or is it a situation where only people that have been captured or are former slaves became part of this Seraphim group? Because we know that Boa was a slave. Could that be where they got her DNA? Or did they get it at some other undisclosed time while she was a warlord? Because she was never captured in like Impel Down, where, reasonably a blood test or, extracting lineage factor from someone like Buggy and Crocodile and Jinbei and maybe even Ace at that time. How crazy would it be? Luffy versus Seraphim Ace. But that makes sense to me that, someone that was captured and had their DNA drawn. Now, I saw something online where people were like, did they get their DNA from like the cutlery and the glasses, at the banquet that was held at Marijoa before going to Marineford? Right? That big panel spread of them all eating. I mean, don't rule it out. At that point, we would have a Seraphim Blackbeard as well. Is it a situation where to join the Warlord system, you had to subject yourself to a blood test or, lineage factor extraction? Who knows? I personally like the idea better that it was people that were captured. because then at that rate, we're going to get Seraphim Kaido. We already saw from Kaido's backstory what he looked like as a kid when he first had his, bounty, 70 million. So ideally, that would be the version of Kaido that we'd probably see as a Seraphim. So ZKK boys, you're back on the table. That would be great. Zoro versus the Seraphim Kaido. Kaido spliced with King's DNA, his man? Ugh, that's kind of wild. And if King would see it too, he'd probably get disgusted. But, he's a tree. The male Seraphim that attacks Blackbeard, and it's also the first time that we see Blackbeard using armament hockey, has ringed eyes just like Mihawk does. Now, is this indicative of him being a Mihawk clone, or is it indicative of, my theory that ringed eyes equals control? Now, the opposite side to that, the Hancock one, only has, these like weird star eyes, which is, strange, different. Never seen that. But we definitely need some more explaining going on here. Why is Blackbeard interested in the Meru no Mi? This is a very interesting development. It was brought up in the stream, does Blackbeard have someone that was petrified by a previous user of the fruit that he would like to release? Which gives us context for that badass moment of Hancock basically saying, go ahead, kill me. Doesn't matter. Take my fruit. You can't unpetrify someone that I've petrified. You just can't. And I have to shout out Boa for being a total gangster throughout the entire process. And this goes back to the first scene, basically Amazon Lily. She's explaining her sad past to Luffy. It's one of the first times that he actually listens to someone's backstory and doesn't fall asleep. Learns about Boa being a slave, getting saved by Fisher Tiger, and her declaration that she will never be captured again. Now, I was expecting Oda to flip that declaration on its head, but what he's doing is he's holding strong on that Boa will not get captured again. Will she in the future? I mean, the cards are still on the table, but as of right now, no. But in this moment, in a chokehold by Blackbeard, she doesn't falter, she doesn't wince, she doesn't flinch, she doesn't cry, she doesn't say, put me down. She just looks him in the eyes and just says, do it. I want you to do it. See what happens. Try me. And I love it. It's one of her best moments. And just that spread of Blackbeard holding Boa in that way with Koby there as well, with this like perfect trifecta, is about as iconic as what we saw last chapter with Crocodile, Mihawk, holding Buggy's decapitated head. Like, this is pre-time skip, beautiful imagery. This has got to be stuff that Oda's had in his head for a long time, finally getting into it now. Love this. Does Blackbeard know some sort of a way to get other people to have multiple fruits as well? Because, that would be kind of crazy. I really would prefer if Blackbeard is like the only person in the story that can have 2 fruits. But in that situation, just imagining Katarina Devon with the Kyubi no Mi, the 9-tailed fox fruit, which allows her to transform into other people, right? Also having Boa's fruit, being able to turn into Boa and trick people that she is Boa by also using her power as well, that would be insanely broken. Do not want to see that. Boa is a goat, one of my wife's favorite characters. Love to see her back into the story. Also, just Koby's glow up, right? This dude went from cowering to Alvida to basically standing and bartering with Hancock and also not being afraid of an Emperor of the Sea. The only thing that he got shocked at was when Rayleigh appeared, which, why wouldn't you? My man pulled up with extreme dad energy. Real recognize real. This dude did not go and save his best friend's kid at Marineford, but he found out that the Marines were going to Amazon Lily and pulled up, swam over. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe he came in a boat. Either way, this dude pulled up and said, let go of my daughter. Whether it's his stepdaughter, his real daughter, that's his daughter. Okay, and then Boa resting her head on his leg at the end? Yeah. Shakky and Rayleigh are Boa's parents. Biologically or not, they are her parents. That's just the vibes I'm getting. And the Shakky moment also was the craziest moment of the entire chapter. in a chapter that was like filled with all of this stuff. I mean, Rayleigh appearing was pretty wild, but the thing that really took me over the edge, because I basically like, I knew Blackbeard was going to be in one of the next chapters because it was just going to happen. I mean, him tying into all of this Boa and Koby stuff, insane, love it. But Shakky being the former pirate empress just blew my mind because it's such a go-to move. It was right in front of our face the whole time. Why Rayleigh has an attachment to Amazon Lily in the first place. Oh my god. Like, it just makes so much sense. There's been theories around for years that Mihawk is Shakky and Rayleigh's kid. Nah, it's Boa. It's Boa. Like, if Luffy ends up with Boa, like, Rayleigh's really about to be his father-in-law. Like, this is insane, guys. Like, and it may not get, like, ever directly mentioned, but you don't pull up like that. It's deeper. Trust me. Also, shout out to Boa, the 1.6 billion berry woman. She fodderized Vasco Shot, who's definitely in the trash can after his remarks this chapter, and Katarina Devon, who does not seem like a slouch. Like, they're done. Like, I mean, she unpetrified them, but I mean, like, in that situation, like, had it gone any other way, 2 commanders down in an instant, 1-hit KO. Blackbeard revealed to be at 3.996 billion. Inside there is the word Kuro, which is black. Kuro Hige, Captain Kuro, Captain Black, like Blackbeard. What did we say? The next time we saw Blackbeard, he would be around 4 billion.
Another one.
Because Oda would not allow Luffy to be ahead of Blackbeard. Like, there's nothing to strive to if he was still in the twos. But what did Blackbeard do before pulling up to Amazon Lily to warrant an increase of like 1.5 billion? He was like 2.4, right? Everyone believed that Shakky was part of Rocks. I mean, in the bar, she said, oh, I used to be a pirate 40 years ago. Garp used to chase me around 40 years ago. You know, that Garp was like chasing after the Rocks pirates. The timeline fit. But at the same time, is that how Rayleigh and Shakky met? Shakky was a part of Rocks, and they met at God Valley. Who knows? I mean, I don't want to rule it out completely, but I mean, she was the former captain of the Kuja Pirates. Did she not become the captain of the Kuja Pirates until after being a member of Rocks? There is just so much to speculate upon. And everything with these Seraphs, like, we are in uncharted and frankly unlimited territory here. We may see a Lunarian buggy that is actually strong. There's so much stuff here. We could see Lunarian Seraphim Luffy and actually have a real mirror fight. Oh god. Oh god. Where do we go from here? Chapter 1060. We're starting off a new number, everything like that. Oda usually likes to start his like new arcs and new things and new elements right at the beginning of a new number. So 1060 could give us the declaration of where we're actually going. Are we going to Sphinx? Are we going to Elbaf? Are we going somewhere else? Are we going to Egghead Port now? Right? At the end of the chapter, we see a marine ship heading to Egghead Port. Likely Smoker, in my opinion. Let's get that Smoker update, but this could also be Fujitora. We don't know who he was going after in the Act 2 break. We also need to see what happened to Weevil, what happened to Moria. Let's catch up with all of the people that have ever been Shichibukai. Maybe we'll see Law. This could also potentially be Drake if he, shacked back up with the Marines and, everything after Wano. Less likely on that one, but very welcome, especially considering that it's tying into the Koby stuff. Drake would care. This could also be Garp. From behind this could be Garp's ship. It's also tying into Koby, and I would be okay with that as well. Will Luffy want to save Koby if he finds out about this, right? I mean, especially if he knows that Blackbeard's involved. Does that get us closer to a cross-guild arc if Blackbeard is bringing Koby to, collect his bounty or anything like that? I just don't necessarily see why Blackbeard would go through all of that trouble, though. I feel like he's got, bigger fish to fry than, get whatever money Buggy can't pay Blackbeard, but I still love that idea either way. Oda chose not to continue through on the revolutionary through line, so we do not know what happened to Sabo, we do not know what happened to Vivi, we do not know what happened at the Reverie. Now I'm hoping that this is because Oda wants to use Vivi as the vessel, as the orator for that flashback. Have it be Vivi's sad flashback before rejoining the crew, going through everything, her father's death, etc., etc. A very traumatic, Sabaody-like experience. Her and Sabo got slapped to Sphinx. Maybe this is why we see Marco with a ... on his way to Sphinx. He realizes that something is different with maybe the topography over there. Or maybe Weevil is causing trouble and that's what the ... is for. And speaking of Marco, let's get into the post-credit scenes of Wano and everything, and we're putting this at the end of the video because Oda decided that he was going to put it at the end of everything. A criticism against Oda. Love him. He's still Goda, but he's obsessed with numbers, he's obsessed with numerology, and sometimes at the detriment of the story. So instead of giving us these scenes within Wano, within, the proper context to kind of flesh this out, it's kind of shoved together, and he combined this Yamato moment that we all needed with also this Marco moment that I really wish was a silent moment between Marco and Luffy. Now, Marco and Luffy did not interact the entirety of Wano. At no point did they even see each other. But Marco had a message for Luffy. When Ace died, Ace whispered to Luffy, his final words were basically, make sure that Pops, Marco, and all of the guys know this. Thank you. Thank you for loving me. That's a message that Ace wanted Luffy to pass on. And that didn't happen here. That's one of the things that I wanted to happen at Sphinx. That's why I want the crew to go to Sphinx. I want Luffy to go visit Ace's grave. I want Sabo to be there as well so that, the three brothers can reunite. But if we don't go to Sphinx, this is essentially what I wanted out of everything. I wanted, Luffy and Marco to kind of have some sort of moment and reminiscing about Ace in some sort of way. So this, I feel like there's a better way to do it, but it still checks a lot of boxes for me. So I like the Marco bit a little more than I like the Yamato bit. I think that the Yamato bit would have done better with a show don't tell situation where Yamato is looking over at Momonosuke after the Green Bull incident, looks back over the Straw Hats, and looks back at Momonosuke, and you kind of see Yamato wearing it on their face, saying you know what? I can't leave this kid alone. And I feel like in 3 or 4 panels, that would have said more than what this flashback did, but I'm happy that we did get something, because the one panel that we got in 1057 was entirely egregious. But we also said that Oda would come back to this. He's done this in the past before. He needs to get to a certain point, and then he does a little bit of a flashback and comes back to all of it.
Another one.
And we did also say that Yamato's reasoning was going to be regarding Momonosuke being too weak to hold, Wano on his own.
Another one.
So the guardian deity of Wano remained behind to ease Luffy's mind. And I also think that this is partly because Yamato was never in Oda's plans to sail with the crew post-Wano. And I also think that that's because Yamato was probably not in Oda's plans for Wano until Act 3. The editors probably pushed Yamato onto Oda to kind of liven the story up. And I think it was at the detriment of other characters like Marco and Denjiro. I think that's why Denjiro disappeared for 30-something chapters, was because Yamato ended up taking the role that Denjiro was supposed to fill in the arc as Momo's galaxy brain protector that had been studying the enemy for 20 years. And Marco easily could have held back Kaido as well. But that's a story for another day and, anything like that. But we did get this. It doesn't make 1057 any better of a chapter, but it does make Wano better as a whole to get this button at the end of it. And that's going to wrap things up, guys. Look out for the video that I've got coming out on the Rocky Port incident and Wang Shi / Ochoko and why they are the key to it all. I think I've cracked the Rocky Port incident. Get ready for that, guys. Shout out to Martin Victorino, Mike McGarity, Assad Ishmael, Kirk Ramey, Oscar Elthausen, DJ BJ32, Jacob, and Birkaliz D. Zori. Appreciate you guys. And I'll see you guys in the Rocky Port video and for 1060 next Friday. Later, everybody.
Come with me if you want to live.
What a chapter. What a chapter. I love it.
I've been swimming deep, deep. Savage.